Last week he tried to escape by jump-starting an ambulance.
My kind of guy.
No, sorry, you don't understand. He tried to escape by jump-starting an ambulance with a defibrillator. Okay, screw it, you're getting a straitjacket too. Nurse! Hey guys, and welcome to another Davey P Reviews, and this week we're reviewing Joe Carnahan's The A-Team. So before we get started in the review, I must address spoilers, so don't watch this if you haven't seen The A-Team and you quite fancy it, so click away, go watch the film, then come back and watch this review. So let's get started on The A-Team. So it starts out in the Mexican desert. All great films. So we start out with Colonel Hannibal Smith, played by Liam Neeson, under interrogation from two Mexican law enforcement officers, and we're wondering why that is. So he manages to escape, and we cut to somewhere else in Mexico, where Corporal B.A. Baracus, played by Quentin Jackson Rampage, is away to collect the classic A-Team minivan. Way! And somewhere else in Mexico, we find Lieutenant Faceman Peck under torture, intimidation and possible death threat from a renegade general, Tuco, and we cut back to Hannibal Smith running to rescue Face, where he runs into Corporal B.A. Baracus. And through gunshots to the arm and then speeches about being in the Army Rangers, he manages to recruit B.A. Baracus, and they go and save Faceman Peck from inevitable doom. After they've saved them, they then transport themselves to a hospital in Mexico, and we find out that Hannibal is then possibly recruiting another member, and we find out that that member is actually Howling Mad Murdoch, played by Sharlto Copley. And we find out that the hospital is not just a medical one, it's also a psychiatric one as well, so after recruiting Howling Mad Murdoch, they then need to escape from Tuco's forces, and how do they do that? They ride in a helicopter that's on the roof. And through an amazing helicopter chase scene, we find out that the Tuco's helicopter has then crossed into the United States airspace, and that's an oh no. So they get blasted out of the sky. Cut to 8 years later, after 80 successful missions, they're given another one by a CIA man played by Patrick Wilson, whose name is Lynch, who needs them to acquire some US Treasury plates and also $1 billion from Iraqi insurgents that are moving them around in Baghdad. And also Faceman's love, or ex-love I should say, Captain Sosa, played by Jessica Biel, tries to persuade them not to do the mission because it's her job, she wants to get it done. Also, Hannibal's friend General Morrison is also on the same boat as Sosa, saying don't do this, please, please. But Hannibal is insistent that he wants to get the job done because it was originally going to be Black Forest's mission. That's another Black Ops brand commanded by a man named Pike. But they managed to get the job, and they pull it off successfully, but little do they know, after it's done, the general's van is blown up with him inside, and we're wondering how that happened. And we find out that Pike from Black Force has taken the plates and ran off, and also blown up the container with $1 billion, and that kind of looks guilty for the A-Team. You could probably guess what happens. They're dishonorably discharged and sent to prison for a crime they didn't commit. And Captain Sosa has now been discharged, now down to lieutenant. So, cut to several months later, we find that the A-Team are serving their time in prison, and CIA man Lynch is visiting Hannibal in prison and has let him know that Pike has now got an Arab backer and is moving the plates around in Germany. And they use this opportunity to try and get the plates back. But unfortunately, the CIA can't help the A-Team get out of prison legally, so they break them out with Hannibal with a drugged cigar. Very good, interesting way of doing it, but then again, I'm not an expert on this. So Hannibal breaks out, and he manages to go and get Face, who's also in another prison, manages to break him out, and then those two together manage to break out B.A. Baracus. And then they find out that Howling Mad Murdock is all the way in Germany in a psychiatric ward. Which kind of begs the question, why the three of them are in the States and Howling Mad Murdock's in Germany? Never fully addressed, but we just take it as it is anyway. So, after they break Howling Mad Murdock out of prison, Sosa is at the psychiatric ward as well, tries to stop them, but they enter an army base and acquire a plane, and they manage to escape again. But then Reapers take down the airplane. They're like, oh god, they're still inside, they're dead. But little do we see a tank falling down with 3 chutes holding it. And we find out the A-Team jumped in that tank before the plane exploded. And through a very good action scene, we find that the 2 chutes snap and one is holding the tank and it just plummets back down to Earth. And they manage to survive that somehow. Don't ask me why, I'm not a scientist. So after they survive that, they then go to Frankfurt to get back the plates from Pike and this Arab backer. And they manage to do it successfully. Then they kidnap the Arab backer and they uncover that, who is it? General Morrison. So he's still alive, and it turns out that him and Pike were also in this cahoots with Lynch, who were wanting the plates for themselves but double-crossed Lynch. And Lynch is not too happy, so what does he do? He sends a carrier jet to take them out in one fell swoop and get the plates back. But the A-Team survive, but General Morrison doesn't. Womp womp. So now that they know that Lynch is behind it all, they make a deal with Sosa that they have the plates and they have General Morrison alive. Liars. So they make a deal, and Faceman makes another deal with Sosa, telling him what their actual plan is in order to capture Lynch on the job. So then it cuts to a harbour in Los Angeles and a tanker area, and they amazing action sequences, and they discover that Lynch has recruited Pike in order to take them out again. But Pike's taken care of, and then it's Lynch and Hannibal fighting over Morrison, who is actually Howling Mad Murdock in disguise with a bulletproof helmet on with ketchup. And he confesses these crimes, and it turns out they lift the crane up and there's Face, there's BA, there's Sosa, so he's caught in the act. So the A-Team's successful, they've completed the mission, they're going to get reinstated in a court with civilians. Little do we know we get arrested again. Wah, wah. So they were arrested again because they broke out of prison illegally. How else were they going to get out of prison legally? So Sosa kisses Face, and then their A-Team are shoved into the back of the van, and they're saying, oh, the system's turned on us, we shouldn't have done this. And Hannibal reassures the team, saying that there's always an escape plan, and then looks at Face and he says, I hate to steal your line, boss, but... And it's the keys to the handcuffs. And we're like, yes, they're gonna escape! And it finishes with Faceman saying, I love it when a plan comes together. Hey, that's Hannibal's line, not yours! And then it ends with the classic, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team. Way! And then the credits roll, and that's the end of the film. So, my own critical analysis of the film. Well, we'll start off with the A-Team themselves. In terms of the actors that were used, Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper, Quentin Rampage Jackson, and Charlton Copley, I think that those were really good choice of actors. I think they filled out the roles very perfectly, because as you've all probably guessed, the A-Team have their own unique qualities, where Hannibal is the strategist or the tactician, Corporal BA is the skillful mechanic or inventor, and he's also the muscle of the team. Faceman is also the sort of spy, the con man, the scrounger, and of course Howling Mad Murdock is the transporter or the skilled pilot. I think they did like really well portraying their qualities and their personalities on screen, so I didn't find anything wrong with the choice of actors. I think it was like well done. There's like even with Jessica Biel as well. You saw the old flame with Face, and then you saw her determination to get the job done. And then I think Lynch as well, played by Patrick Wilson. I think he was quite good. Like, there were scenes at time where he was a bit unprofessional. Like, I think there's a scene where he finds out that the A-Team's still alive despite that attempted murder, and he starts kicking the front seat like as if he was a 5-year-old child, like, wee! And I thought that was absolutely hilarious. But like, again, it's like if you were to portray Lynch as a serious CIA man, it's like that failed horribly at that point. Also, some of the action scenes in the movie were spectacular. It's like the helicopter. My two favourites would have to be the helicopter chase at the beginning in Mexico. Improbable as hell, because I don't think you could turn a helicopter upside down and then keep flying it. Also, when they cut the engines to intercept the heat seekers by just turning off all the equipment and just remaining cold, and then just turning it back on again as you're falling down. It's like, yeah, I doubt that would probably happen as well. Then again, I'm not a pilot, so I wouldn't know. And my second is obviously the plane, and after the escape in Germany, and then the tank falling down as well. I cringe every moment when those two parachutes snap and that thing plummets down to earth and you see Faith Ant almost falling out, like, because I'm scared of heights, obviously, and it's just like so scary just to see him jump out and you're like, oh god, he's gonna fall. Also, another quite good thing that I didn't find was going to be effective in this movie at first was because it was an action movie, you never expected comedy to be part of it, and like there are some scenes that are quite funny, mostly in my opinion because of Howling Mad Murdock, because he is probably by far the most hilarious aspect of this film. Just out of nowhere scenes like when they're planning the stealing of the plates and the $1 billion, they find him just like preparing, like getting the equipment sorted, and then there's blue paint in a tub and he says, "You ever seen Blue Man Group?" And you're like, what the hell has that got to do with the planning of the mission? If that doesn't do it, he then impersonates Mel Gibson's William Wallace by just painting half of his face blue and then just getting this sort of horse-like prop saying, "What would you give to our one chance to come back here?" And just like, it serves no purpose to the plot, but it is just hilarious just to see him act like a complete idiot. Yeah, it is quite good. So, who is my favourite A-Team member? I think hands down it has definitely got to be Howling Mad Murdock, just because of his insane-like qualities, comedic style, and it's just like he can also get the job done when he wants to, and his aircraft piloting skills are quite brilliant, despite the fact improbable though. So it's a very good movie. So how would I rate this film? I would give it a solid 3 out of 5. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a good movie, but it also has its flaws. I think for me, it's a guilty pleasure. It's like a movie where I know it can be bad, and I know there are good aspects, but it's just, I still enjoy it nonetheless. So, yeah, a solid 3 out of 5. So I think that's it, guys. I think hope you enjoyed the review. So if you like what you see, click the little like button down below. Also, if you want to see more content in the future, also give me a subscribe there as well, and I would love you guys for that as well. So I'll see you guys next week for another Gaming with Davey P. I think next week I will be starting a series, believe it or not, of a playthrough of Until Dawn. So also keep a lookout for that as well. So yep, I think that's it, guys. So I will see you next week for a gaming video. So see you later, guys.